Hi, welcome to the 13th floor. I'm Marty Duda. Today we have with us Darren Watson.
G'day, Marty. How you
Direct
doing?
from Wellington.
From Wellington.
How was the flight?
It was early.
So you don't even remember.
No, I was kind of slept through most of it.
Good idea.
Yeah, sleeping with a mask. It's a new sensation.
Yeah, it's got to be weird traveling around in this environment that
It's
we're
interesting. Yeah, and of course flying up, just as I read about Chris Hipkins talking about people dragging the tail in Auckland and coming into COVID Central, you know.
Oh,
but it was fine.
Well,
not
yeah.
really too bad.
So you got a new album coming out. It's called "Getting Sober for the End of the World."
Yeah,
sounds like you picked a good title.
Yeah, it's a song I wrote last year, so I've been getting grief about it being a cashing in on the. But
there's an amazing amount of examples of that where people seem to
isn't it?
have known what was going to happen.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
So I just thought it was a great combination of I got sober, and then I was thinking about my grandkids and climate change,
Right.
and I put them together and thought it works. You know, it's like the kind of coyote finally catches Roadrunner and the 18-ton weight comes down.
Exactly.
I thought it was quite funny, so I just wrote the song around that, and I'm pretty happy with it.
Cool. So the album's coming out the beginning of October, I believe.
October the 1st, yeah.
And you're going to do some shows, hopefully, if all goes according to plan. But let's talk about the album itself. So your previous one was Too Many Millionaires, which I love the concept already. And I think a lot of people did.
Yeah.
So this one is a little bit different. So production-wise, was it put together pretty much the same way?
Similar. The last record I had Lee Preble work with me on.
Right.
This one I did myself at home. So I did all the engineering. We recorded basically in a room about half this size.
Right.
And just played. and so it's like, it's a new discovery for me. Like, I know everyone else has been onto this for years, you know, going back to forever.
Yeah.
But just recording, playing and singing at the same time and not going back and fixing things. You know? Just living with it and finding a performance that works. So that's
because chances are, if there are any mistakes, you're the only one who knows what they are.
Exactly,
anyway.
And so, you know, it's like it's finally getting enough of your ego out of the picture so that you can just accept that that's the performance.
Right. And the songs themselves, when were most of these written?
Over the last kind of, I guess, last half of last year, I started writing again, and then they just kind of flew out, and a whole lot ended up on the cutting room
floor. Is that what you do? You just kind of make up your mind, it's time to write some new songs?
No, I don't think I make my mind up. I just finally crawl out of that post-album depression hole, and you write one, and it kind of says, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's enough to write another one, and it kind of starts snowballing.
And what was the first one you wrote for this one?
The first one I wrote for this one is one called Facebook Friend, which didn't make the record. But
You can tell by the title.
You can tell by the title it didn't make, but it was just the thing that fired it up.
Right.
You know? And and I'm feeling pretty good about it too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a blues record, that's for sure. And you got some other folks playing on it, especially harp player.
Terry Casey, yeah. So I met Terry. We've been playing together since 1985.
Okay.
So it's like he just knows exactly what I'm going to play when I'm going to play it. It's one of those, you know, symbiosis. I don't know.
Close enough.
Yeah. We're bros, you know. He just knows exactly what's going to happen next. It's pretty amazing.
Cool. So we'll get to some music here. You're going to play a couple of tunes, and the first one is called Ernie Abbott.
Yeah.
And it's pretty dark tune, wouldn't you say?
It is, yeah. Well, it's about, for those who don't know, Ernie Abbott was a caretaker at the Wellington Trades Hall, so he basically cleaned up after the union leaders there.
Right.
And I don't know how much cleaning up after them they needed, but
right.
One day he picked up a suitcase that he thought someone had left behind, and someone had planted a bomb and blew him away.
When did this happen?
That was March 1984. And it's been in my head ever since about this, you know, the human side of this guy just doing his job.
Right.
Happens to foil. The obvious motive is somebody was trying to take out some trade union leadership.
Right.
Can't think of any other motive. The police don't seem to think there is a motive. But anyway, that's another story. But I just like the human thing. This guy just doing his gig, and bang, see you later. And that someone's got to have been carrying that weight around for all these years.
Yeah.
And how that must feel. So that's what I wrote about.
All righty. Well, let's give it a listen.
Cool. up his casket on a gold kings would use, and the people, they stood around crying. A neat little basket of beautiful flowers and words that are said for the dying. He didn't have much, just a dog and a bed, and he spent his whole life cleaning up rooms for the ones who made a fight of what we just gave away, and the many bowed down to the few. Somebody's got to know who took the life of this peaceful man. Somebody's got to know who put Ernie Abbott's soul in God's hands. Somebody's got to know who took the life of this peaceful man. Somebody's got to know who put Ernie Abbott's soul in God's hands. He didn't go far to reach heaven that day, just bent down to pick up somebody's case. A ratty old bag left behind by the door, and Ernie wasn't gone without a trace. Somebody's got to know who took the life of this peaceful man. Somebody's got to know who put Ernie Abbott's soul in God's hand. In God's hand.
All right, we're here with Darren Watson. We just heard his tune from his new album. It's called Ernie Abbott. The song is. The album is called Getting Sober for the End of the World. Now, there's a mixed message to that because looking at the album cover.
Yeah. It's a bit of a visual pun, shall we say. So, yeah, well, I mean, man, I tell you what, I think that humor in music is underrated, just enough.
Yep.
But it's like, serious subject, but it's like, if you can make people laugh while you're doing it. Some of my favorite performers are people like John Hyatt,
right?
Who amazing songwriters who, when they get in front of a crowd,
yes,
can really hold it with some fun,
Yep. John Prine was like that too.
Yeah. All the good songwriters seem to be, and like I noticed that, and it's like, and also I've just learned to lighten up a bit about the whole process and not take myself so seriously, you know, and kind of just have fun with it.
Yeah. So before we get to the song that we're going to hear you play, we'll talk about some of the other ones here. So the one that's on the album after Ernie Abbott is another name. It's Allison Jane.
Yeah.
And you've got somebody else playing on that.
Yeah, somebody else. One of my heroes, man. A guy I've been following since probably about 1990.
Right.
He's a guy called Rick Holmstrom, who's like, back then he was like the swing blues, West Coast blues guitar player of choice, really, for a lot of the great kind of harmonica players of that kind of coast, the left side, so to speak. And I followed him for years, and he commented on a YouTube clip of mine about how he dug my playing and stuff.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Which is cool. And then next thing you know, we kind of start talking, and then the next thing, the last time I went to the NAMM show in LA, I went into a bar to see him play. I'm sitting down like this, I'm just getting a drink, and he walks up and hands me the guitar mid-set, And so obviously he felt comfortable sitting in with the band, and we kind of just talk, online ever since. And I'm a kind of admirer of his, and he started saying he was digging the song. So when I came up with this one, he liked Getting Sober for the End of the World, for starters. He loved that song. He thought it was quite cool. So I said, well, do you want to play on one? And he was like, yeah, I'd love to, man. Just send me the tune. If I like it, I'll play on it. So it's the only electric guitar on the record, but I kind of
that's it. Okay.
So I kind of had to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, the song itself was written as a bit of a throwaway, to be honest. Like I canvassed YouTube, Facebook for the name, because I had the melody and not the woman's name.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a tongue-in-cheek song about a.
It's probably a relatively new thing involved with coming up with band names and song names. Is like you have to Google everything and check it on Facebook to make sure it hasn't been used.
Well, I think the difference with songwriters now too is instead of carrying around a rhyming dictionary, you just use the online one. Because all the good writers use them. It's like, and when I found that out, I was like, I do forgive myself for doing that. Because it's like finding those inside rhymes sometimes is hard to do. And so man, I really enjoy that kind of halftime feel. It's like, I'm a big Ry Cooder fan and a big Levon Helm fan. Oh yeah. And that's so it's not pure blues by any stretch, but it's like it's roots. Yeah. And it's bluesy and it's and Rick played his ass off on it.
Oh, cool. Really, and you got some horn players on the record too.
Yeah, some guys from Ohio. Actually.
From Ohio.
Yeah.
I grew up very close to Ohio
via the internet, and they were great, man. I mean, I just sent what I wanted, and they played it, and it was just tight loose. You know what I mean? Just right. And it was good to, sometimes it's good to step away from people to play with and just work with other people.
Right.
It just fires up something else. Cool. And and that's on the title track. So
not bad.
We kind of threw the kitchen sink at the first track and then
got to get them quick, get them early.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna listen to the final song on the album, which is an old Robert Johnson tune.
Yeah. And
why is Robert Johnson still relevant?
I don't know if he is. And I certainly don't think he was ever as relevant as people made him out to be.
Right.
I think to rock music he was probably more relevant than to blues.
Yeah.
Thanks
to Eric Clapton.
Yeah, thanks to Clapton, exactly. And so I wasn't I swore I'd never cover a Robert Johnson song on a recording, but that's the one I did for the mic test on the first day of the first session. And I sat back and listened to it, I was like, that's actually pretty good. And then I just left it. I wasn't necessarily going to use it, but then I thought, it's called Preaching Blues. The first song is like about giving up booze and not preaching about it.
Yep.
And I thought it would be a great closer. And also the last line is like going to the distillery, stay out there all day. So it's sort of like a nice bookend.
Yeah.
And it's just an honest performance of me playing pretty much like what I'm going to do now.
Cool. I can't wait to hear it. And hopefully people will be able to see you out and about
Yeah,
very soon.
I'm
You're
touring.
gonna play out, I'm sure, when the album is out.
If the tour happens,
yes.
It'll be 1st of October through to the end of October, and I'm playing in Auckland on the 10th at the Wine Cellar.
10th at the Wine Cellar.
Yeah.
It's just around the corner,
Exactly.
not far away at all.
Yeah.
Excellent, very good. I'm sure I'll be there. Excellent. Well, thank you for coming around.
Thanks
Good
for
luck
having
with the
me, man.
record.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you for playing with me.
Cheers, man.
Yeah.
Woke up this morning, the blues walking like a man. Woke up this morning, the blues walking like a man. All the blues, give me your right hand. The blues is a low down aching heart disease. The blues is a low down aching heart disease, like consumption, killing me by degrees. Low down aching chill. The blues is a low down aching chill. Ain't never had 'em. Hope you never will. I can study rain. Drive my blues away. I've been studying rain. Gonna drive my blues away. Going to the still rain.